Well, hey everybody, I'm Dr. Nancy Stanley, physical therapist, life and health coach, and I'm excited about this video today. And the reason is because I got several things I want to talk to you about, but the first thing I want you to know, I'm going to give you 3 tips, easy tips really, to help you get healthy. And you know, that's really why I do this. I mean, I woke up this morning, I'm 65 years old, and I just had a ton of energy. I feel good. I felt good. I feel good every morning when I wake up. And the reason I do is because of what I put in my body, the fuel that I put in my body. Yesterday I did have one non-optimal item, but you know, it was a minimal amount, and so it didn't have any consequences today. So here's what I think you'll notice once you start getting healthy. Here's what all my clients say is now when they eat non-optimal things like bread or a donut or whatever, they can eat a little bit, but if they eat very much, they feel awful. Their pain comes back, their joint aches come back, their energy drops, the brain fog comes back. Hey Vicki, hey Gail, thank y'all for joining me. Yeah, so I'm cooking a chicken ranch casserole today. And the reason I'm doing that is I had some chicken in the freezer and I took it out. I was thinking about grilling it and I didn't get around to it, so I ended up boiling it because I didn't want it to go bad. And then I thought, what am I going to do with that? And so I just Googled keto chicken recipes and I found one that I thought I would like, so I cooked it. So what I do usually when I do this is I cook half of the recipe. So that's what you're seeing right there. That is the chicken recipe. And you can see somebody, Mr. Stanley, has taken out a hunk of it. And he's gone in there in his man cave to watch the masters. And I nibbled on it a little bit and it was delicious. So that's the recipe I'm gonna send out. So if I don't have your email, if you're new, I know I have some new friends. If you're new to my Facebook page, make sure I have your email because I'm going to send this recipe out this week. But I'm going to show you a variation on this second one that I'm going to make. But just think about this. If you could dip this up, so, oh my gosh, and hand this to your spouse or your company or to yourself. I mean, I've already tasted it and I'm going to tell you, it's delicious. It really is delicious. And, so I want to encourage you to get in the kitchen and cook. Get in the kitchen and cook. Now, if you are admiring these, I want you to. These are my amaryllises, and they are really showing out. These are double whites, and I love them. But the other things you're going to see in here are things I grow in my yard. So if you love flowers like I do, plant you some things that when you can make an arrangement. So this is a eucalyptus tree. See there, it's a eucalyptus tree. I had that planted. I started that one last year. And these are some kind of snake plant. You see that? They're great in arrangements. They make for like a, I know my daughter said there are 3 things you're supposed to have in an arrangement. Well, that little snake plant has seen its better days. It's been in another amaryllis arrangement. She's like, you got to have a trailer, something like a stable, a trailer, and a glitz or something. I'll have to ask her what that is. So you want to have these things, and this is just a leaf off the amaryllis, and then this is a foxtail fern. I love foxtail fern. I've only got one in there, but there you go. That's what that looks like. I love those. So this isn't a video about flowers, but I just love flowers, so I can't hardly help it. Okay, so I'm gonna back this up a little bit so you can see. The other thing, I am bragging a little bit. I just went and pick this out of my garden, collards and kale. And I'm gonna cook this up a little bit later today, and it's gonna be delicious. I'll probably put them together. But you see here, I got the purple and the green, and I wanna encourage you to have a lot of variety in your vegetables during the week. If you can get 10 or 15 varieties of vegetables, what you're getting is a different nutrient from each one of those, okay? Those phytonutrients that are in our green vegetables. So make sure that you can get that. So this recipe today, so this first recipe has broccoli in it. This one I'm gonna put broccoli and spinach because I had some spinach and we love spinach. So here's what we're gonna start with. All right, we're gonna start with 2 cups of cooked chicken. All right, so the recipe calls for 4. So if you were making a bigger one, the whole recipe, but I'm going to tell you the half of the recipe, but what I'm going to send out is going to be the whole recipe. So 2 cups. So I boiled that chicken in organic bone broth, chicken bone broth, and I just added some, I think I just added some salt. I don't even think I added any flavorings to it, all right? And then what we've got here is about 4 strips of bacon. So I'm going to dump that over in there. That's where the chicken ranch bacon casserole comes from. And then I did a homemade ranch dressing, and I would encourage you to make homemade dressings. The reason is all of your other dressings, most of them, there are a few, have canola oil or vegetable oil, and those are extremely toxic. They damage your cell wall, the DNA in your cell, and so you really don't want that in your body. So I'm going to show you, this is a little over a half a cup. It was the recipe called for a whole cup, but I have half in the recipe, remember. So, but I put a little bit more because I like a little bit more. So here are the ingredients if you want to make that ranch dressing. I think I'll send that dressing recipe out too. It calls for garlic. No, I'm sorry. It calls for onion powder, garlic powder, dill, parsley, and chives. And then, of course, mayonnaise, and I use the avocado oil or olive oil mayonnaise, and sour cream, and some salt and pepper, of course. And it makes up about 2 cups. So I love to have that ranch dressing on hand just for dipping or to put in recipes. Yeah, so my kids love that. All right, so now I'm going to put in about 2 cloves of garlic that I have minced. To me, you can't ever have enough garlic. I just love garlic. And then I've already salted all of that, so I'm not going to put any salt. I salted the chicken. All right, so what this is, don't you love this little nifty thing? I bought this at Wally World yesterday, and it's a 3-cup measurer, and it's a strainer. And so I cooked the broccoli in the microwave. It was some I had gotten at Costco, and it's beautiful broccoli. And I was going to stir fry it in butter or add some butter, but when I tasted it, I'm like, that broccoli tastes great. I don't need to add anything to it. So if you haven't been to Costco, we've been one time. Our plan is to go back again. This broccoli is very tasty. So there we go. That's 2 cups of broccoli. And I did cut it down into more bite-sized pieces. That one's actually a little big. I don't know about you, but I don't like to dip into a casserole. Well, I guess I didn't break all these up. I broke the first batch up. And get a big old hunk of broccoli. I want to get, several things from the recipe in it. So I would encourage you to cut these up in bite-sized pieces. Now, what I have here is about 3 cups of spinach that I really just wilted down in some avocado oil, all right? Now, the recipe it calls for either broccoli or spinach or whatever vegetable you want, but I'm going to put in both just because I love to get those phytonutrients in, okay? And then here we go. This is not in the recipe. This is just a version I'm trying. I put in 4 ounces of cream cheese, and I cut that up into pieces just so it would kind of be spread out in the recipe. And you're probably thinking, well, gosh, girl, you're not even cooking the recipe. Well, I did with the first one, and we liked it, but I love to try varieties. My children will tell you, Mama never cooks the same thing twice. It's always a one of a kind. All right, and then this is a cup of cheese, and I'm going to put half of it in here, and then I'm going to put the other half on the top of it. And this is 1/4 of a cup of goat cheese. So instead of a whole cup of cheddar cheese, I put the cream cheese and the goat cheese. And goat and sheep cheese is the best cheese you can eat. It really is. So just want to encourage you to try goat cheese or sheep cheese if you have a chance. And then I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of chicken broth because I felt like that first recipe was a little bit dry. And here we go. I'm just stirring it up. And this is going to be so, so, so delicious. And then I'm just going to put it in the oven on 350 until it's bubbly. I mean, seriously, everything in here is cooked. So you could have added the spinach not cooked. There we go. There's a big old hunk of, well, I'll take care of that later. But anyway, it was a big old hunk of broccoli I wanted to cut, but I didn't have a knife over here. So, okay, so I'm going to stir it up a little better. Okay, so stay tuned now. Don't leave me because I'm about to tell you the 3 top tips, not the top tips, but 3 tips you want to try to do to get healthier. And they're not hard. Okay, but remember, I got to have your email if you want this recipe. And I am starting a challenge on the 25th of April. And if you're on here and you're in my challenge, if you just put a comment below so people could see, you know, how you're doing on the challenge, maybe how much weight you've lost, or maybe what you're learning, or just something to promote it. So let me get a knife. Oh, and by the way, my husband bought me a new set of these Hinkle knives. Oh my gosh, and I love them. All right, so I'm gonna make this a little bit more bite-sized. You know, I think about the people that are eating, and even myself when I'm cooking, and I'm like, I want it, when they eat it, I want it to be easy for them to eat. You know, maybe I could just give them a fork and not have to give them a knife. So that's kind of what's going to happen with this recipe, because everything in here is bite-sized. Okay, now this looks great, so I'm about to spoon it into this casserole dish. And here we go. And there we go. Oh gosh, that looks so good. Honestly, I could have used a little bigger one. I really could have used a little bigger casserole, but it's okay, because everybody likes the brown top, don't they? Okay, and I'm going to add this cheese. Now, you wouldn't have to add this cheese, but it really does make it pretty and brown. And that's about a cup of cheese, which is not too much. So there's a good bit of dairy in this, all right? And when I send you the recipe, it'll have the number of carbs. But you see how brown that is on the top? I let that brown and get bubbly. Okay, so here, that's it. And I'm going to stick this in the oven. I love my new stove. I really do love it. I wasn't sure if I would like it, so that's on 350. That took 15 minutes to cook, literally 15 minutes. It was brown and bubbly, so got a lot of little dishes here, but that's okay. All right, so let me tell you about this dish. Okay, so it cost me, I'm gonna say about $12, maybe $13, and we're gonna get, so we've already gotten one meal out of it, about 10 servings. So when you think about that, it's a little over $1 a serving. So why wouldn't you cook? Why wouldn't you get in the kitchen and cook? All right, so now I wanted to, and oh, by the way, when I took this in there to my husband, and after he ate a little bit, I went back in there and he's watching the Masters, and I said, so what do you think? He said, it's really good. I love a really good. I love it. Now, I don't like well, it's okay. I don't cook that again. Why would you? I don't want to cook something that's just okay. All right. So I see you on here, Connie. Thank you for sharing that. You lost 29 pounds and you feel great. And you're going to keep going. That's what I love about it, is you know what to do. So anybody else, I can't see the comments, but I can see that there's about 12 or 15 of y'all on here. Okay. So I wanted to share this. All right. This is kind of how I'm going to start getting you to pay attention instead of my big whiteboard. I'm just going to do a few things. All right, so 3 tips. Number 1, eat whole foods. Everything in here is whole foods, except maybe for the mayonnaise. You know, it does have some things in it. So your best bet would be to make your own mayonnaise. Oh, I don't even know if I said it has sour cream, but that's the ranch dressing, okay? But the broccoli, the chicken, it's range-fed chicken, it's bone broth, all healthy, what I call fuel. That's what our body needs to run, is fuel. Just like your car, you would never put trashy gas in your car. And if you did, it would sputter and you go, now I know what happened. Let's see. Hey, Estella, good to see you. Thank you for joining me. All right, so number 1, eat whole foods. All right. Okay, number 2, eat earlier in the day. All right, so eat, in other words, don't eat at 8 or 9 o'clock at night and then go to bed at 10 or 11. Really try to have your eating done by 6 o'clock. So a restricted window of eating. You're going to really notice how much better you feel if you eat early in the day. And then the third thing is move more. You know, because of all that's going on with us, we're not moving as much. I know I'm not moving as much. So I am going to, this week, I'm going to do better. Last week I didn't do so great. But this week I'm going to do better, and even today I'm going to commit back to my walking, and also to every hour I'm going to set my alarm to get up and move. If I just have to do like, okay, I'm going to do some squats, or I'm going to do some overhead you know, I'm just going to raise up on my toes 20 times, or I'm going to do walking lunges around the living room, or I'm just going to do some jumps in place. You know, all of those things, or just knee to chest. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard, but it needs to be something. It needs to be something. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to share this video. Give me your email. That's how I get my message out to the world. All right, so coming up, I'm going to be doing a video on, I think I'm going to do the making your homemade mayonnaise. I've done that before, but I think I'm going to do that. And then how to lower your blood pressure naturally, and how how to lower your blood pressure naturally. And to do that, you kind of have to know why you have high blood pressure. So you want to get off of those medicines if you can. You really don't want to take medicine. Food can be your medicine, or it can be your poison. So let's make it our medicine. Thank you for joining me. Hit the love button before you leave, please. And share. Hit the share button. Share this video. And if you are ready to get healthy, I am ready to help you. I am so excited about this next challenge coming up. I've got about 70 people in challenges right now, and one of them is going to be ended here in a couple of weeks. And most of those people have lost 20 to 30 pounds. They're feeling great. They're noticed their pain is gone. And this happens really in the first week. So I've got some new information coming up about blood glucose levels. I'm actually checking my blood glucose level regularly. I've got a continuous glucose monitor on the way. I'm going to be monitoring my blood sugar so I can share with you what happens with your blood sugar, because that is really the key ingredient to being healthy, having a healthy brain, is keeping that insulin at a low level and getting the toxins out of your body. It's not hard. It's really not hard. But you know what's hard? Some of y'all on here can tell me. Disease is hard. Diabetes is hard. High blood pressure is hard. Stroke is hard. Yeah, all those things are hard. So thank you, whoever that was. Let me walk around here so I can see. Just shared that comment. Let me see. Hey, Lou. Yeah, you and I had a good conversation yesterday, and we're going to work on some of the things that you're let's call it opportunities, not struggles, okay? All right, so thank y'all for joining me, and y'all have a great Sunday.